Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington for talks with U.S. President Donald Trump today. It will be the third meeting this year and the first since the 12-day war between Israel and Iran. It also comes as indirect negotiations between Israel and Hamas continue in Doha. Yesterday's talks wrapped up without a deal, but both leaders are optimistic an agreement could be reached soon.
I think there's a good chance we have a deal with Hamas during the coming week, pertaining to quite a few of the hostages. Yeah. You know, we've gotten a lot of the hostages out, but pertaining to the remaining hostages, quite a few of them will be coming out. We think we'll have that done this week.
להשיג את העסקה הזאת שמדובר עליה בתנאים שאנחנו הסכמנו לה. שלחתי צוות למשא ומתן עם הנחיות ברורות, ואני חושב שהשיחה עם הנשיא טראמפ יכולה בהחלט לעזור לקדם את התוצאה הזאת שכולנו מייחלים לה. תודה רבה לכם.
And for more, Trent Murray joins us live from Tel Aviv. Trent, thank you for joining us. Now, talks in Doha are reportedly continuing today after an inconclusive discussion on Sunday. How will this affect the outcome of the two leaders' meeting?
Well, we know that negotiating team is there under the direction of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his war cabinet. They are not thought to have a mandate to be able to make decisions on their own. They undoubtedly will be making a number of telephone calls back here to Tel Aviv and now also Washington, one would imagine, based on where the negotiations are at. And so they are unlikely to move forward with any agreement with Hamas without the approval of the Prime Minister. We understand the main sticking points right now in the negotiation are what happens in the sort of second phase of the ceasefire. There does seem to be broad agreement of a 60-day ceasefire in which Israel will withdraw from key military positions within the Gaza Strip in exchange for getting back 10 living hostages as well as the bodies of 18 deceased hostages. Where the difficulty lies, though, is that Hamas is demanding Israel withdraw completely from the Gaza Strip. And what they are saying from Tel Aviv's side is that they don't want to see Hamas be able to rearm and reposition itself again based on them withdrawing from the Strip and then potentially posing a threat to the state of Israel. So right now, President Trump, I think, learning in real time just how difficult it is to bridge that gap between the two sides. On Friday, we heard him say that he was expecting a response from Hamas within 24 hours. Well, that timeline has now shifted to sometime this week. Undoubtedly, it will be front and centre of the discussions between the two leaders, but just whether they can get the two sides to agree, I think it's still very, very uncertain.
Trent, this is their first meeting since the Israel-Iran war, during which Mr. Trump lashed out at both sides. Mr. Trump is pushing for a permanent ceasefire, but can we expect Mr. Netanyahu to budge?
Well, the ceasefire between Israel and Iran does appear to be holding right now. We have not seen any incidents from either side in this post-ceasefire period. There was some skirmishes on day one, you might recall, with missiles and airstrikes. But since then, it does appear to be holding. I think both the Americans and the Israelis, though, during these meetings, will be going through the intelligence, looking at the satellite imagery and trying to understand what the state of play is right now for Iran's nuclear program. If there's any sort of risk of them rebuilding it or being able to reconstitute their research, I think you will see the Israelis pushing to potentially go back in again and to try and, in their view, finish the job. We do know that during that 12-day conflict, they are saying that they took out most of Iran's air defense systems. They believe they can send sorties of fighter aircraft back up into the skies of Iran very quickly if needed. I think another area we have to look at is, will Israel consider attacks by some of Iran's proxy groups as a breach of that ceasefire? So far, they haven't. We saw some Yemeni missiles fired by the Houthis overnight. They, of course, are a key part of that axis of resistance led by Tehran. But so far, it appears the Israelis are not holding Tehran responsible for the actions of proxy groups like the Houthis. Could that change? We will have to wait and see. Just so much to discuss right now in the Middle East, given the fast-moving events that we've seen in recent weeks and months.
Many thanks for that update. Thank you so much. Trent Murray reporting live from Tel Aviv.